Hi everybody, it's Adge here with you some more Railway Empire. Last time around we tackled the automobile scenario. Eventually got a rating of Office Manager, which is I believe is 2 below President, so not bad at all. It is a hard one. Was difficult. The biggest problem was growing the Toledo to 200,000 people. So now we're going to move on, look at one I've not tried before, set in the south, gone with the Headwind in 1850. It's another hard scenario, so we'll see how difficult it really is. Let's have a quick look at the description. In February of 1850, Rhett Butler has fallen for the as smart as beautiful railroad tycoon Scarlett O'Hara, but loneliness and distrust are her constant companions, and the heart of the young businesswoman has no room for the love-crazed Rhett. How shall he get her attention? How indeed? So we start with just under 2 million in Jacksonville with one competitor, so we'll go ahead and jump in.
Time is money.
Okay, so we're limited to the industrialist Roger Smythe on this playthrough, so no need to worry about that this time. Let's pause it. Okay then. Who's our competitor? I guess she's supposed to be Scarlett. Let's have a look. Yes, okay. So there's Scarlett. We're down here in Jacksonville to start with. I think, was it Jacksonville? Yeah, I think it was. Let's see what we've got to do. 3 tasks. I guess these'll improve, get added to later on. First of all, grow Atlanta to 50,000 by the end of 1851. Produce the item candies in a city. I'm going to call them sweets. And deliver 30 loads of sweets to Atlanta. My Britishness there. We don't call it candy, it's sweets or, chocolate if it happens to be, chocolate. Okay, so grow in Atlanta, that's what we need to do. So we've got meat, we've got a meat factory in Atlanta to start with. So get that buffalo brought in, cattle, sorry. Maybe those logs as well. We could ship in beer from Augusta or Montgomery. I would say Montgomery, because although no, yeah, we'll say Montgomery. There's got milk here. We can bring that in. Yeah, that should be enough to get it to 1850. So 50,000. The other task was to produce sweets. Let's see. Is that? I guess that must be that factory there. Must be. So that requires paper and sugar. Do we have any of that? Sugar, obviously. Nearby, as we start, we've got some there. So Memphis or Nashville are contenders. Do we have any down by? We have some here. In fact, we could. I think we could put the sweet factory in Jacksonville straight away. And you know what? I'm going to do that. This is the first time I've played this scenario, so I'm not sure what the best strategy is when starting out, but I want to get that done. Okay. So we're going to need paper brought in. Now we have these logs here. So we could grow Atlanta and put a paper mill in there, so that'll feed the paper and the return train will feed the suites, which will meet that objective here, so that's fine. But we're not going to get very far yet if we don't start putting some stations in. So Jacksonville to Montgomery. This is your usual big earning beer meat combination, so get some good early profits off this line. Now watch that incline there. Go for the earthworks. So that's that. It's a strange one, this scenario. All the others you start off with a full list of tasks. So something a bit different. I've got the feeling once we hit these 50,000 and get the suites going, the next thing is going to relate to jewellery, because we have gold, and I did see in the industries there was a jeweller's. I guess that's the next thing we need to start producing. That's just a guess though. Okay, so let's get some trains on this newly minted line. And we'll stick to our default starting strategy of 4 trains, 2 originating in each city. Okay. Next up, we want to move to Atlanta. So we'll get a station here.
I see you've placed new stations on the playing field.
We will come down here. And there we go. Into Montgomery. We shall have a supply tower here. And start our trains rolling. We shall put a maintenance building in our station in Montgomery and issue our first bond. Now the next city is going to be Augusta. This is following the usual strategy of high expansion at the start to get your economy growing, plus feeding as much beer into Atlanta as we can is going to obviously have the effect of making it grow. So once these lines are up and running, what I want to do then is to start bringing wheat into these 2 cities so they have plenty of beer output. And then start providing raw materials into Atlanta as well to get Atlanta growing. So we need to issue another bond already. No problem, we'll do that now. Put a supply tower down. There we go. So the first one I can reach out to is this wheat farm just over the river from Augusta. So we'll go ahead and do that. $73,000, that's fairly reasonable. $55,000 to return, so let's increase the speed and let the economy catch up. Reduces tunnel construction costs by 10%. I try and avoid tunnels where possible, they're just too expensive, so I'm not sure he's going to be worth it.
Look at it like this. At least you're in the paper. And with a photo too.
Okay, let's wait for a couple more of these trains to hit their cities and give us some cash. Like this. There we go. Put the tower in place. And then put the locomotive on standby. Obviously we can't run it yet because we can't afford to. But we can at least get his parameters all set up, and now we can get him in place. And then we can copy him. Let's just slow it down a second. So that's wheat feeding this industry here, which is going to feed this city. We can bring more wheat into this city to feed this industry, which will also feed Atlanta. And then we want to think about bringing the cattle and this wheat in to these respective cities as well. So, to start with, I'm just going to bring him in via the main line that's already in place. Like so. That's just to save a little bit of cash in the early stages. And it's something that is liable to be changed in the future once we build our economy to a very strong position. So that's one train. If we assign a security guard to that train, that'll increase the freight prices that we get, which is good. Okay, so then we want to connect the cattle industry to feed into Atlanta. So we'll need 40,000 plus a few thousand for the track for this one. So there's a 40k. So we need 5.5 for the join up track. And once again we'll prepare the train's parameters while we wait for the cash to accumulate to pay for the locomotive itself, which shouldn't be long. There we go. As with the wheat, we shall initially start up with 2 trains running this line. There we go. Now the next thing I want to do is prepare the line from Jacksonville to Atlanta so the suites can be brought in. So to do that, I want to expand this station, which will cost 100,000. And I also want to put a maintenance building in there as well, to try and avoid unnecessary breakdowns and delays.
Congratulations.
Ah,
You
too
got
slow.
thing?
Want to clear a bit of room on here in preparation for the line that is going to head out to Jacksonville. So that's all prepared and ready to go. We already have a spare spare platform in Jacksonville, so that's ideal.
Oh no, what bad luck.
Just trying to work out this little kink in this track. But I think that's the best we're going to get. So that's going to cost 166,000. Yes, you now start to be plagued by breakdowns, so we do want to start getting some of these maintenance buildings put down now. We'll go ahead and put one in Augusta. Okay, now it is a matter of waiting around, letting the cash build up so we can pay for this track from Jacksonville to Atlanta. Let's check our research. There we go, extra freight prices. Obviously that works on top of Roger's 5% bonus from his character, so pushing our freight prices even higher. We can go ahead and get this security guard, which once again pushes your freight prices up, so let's go ahead and put him here. Put her here, I should say. Cheaper locomotives by 10%. That's always a good deal in my book. Okay, so we want to bring our second line alongside the first back to our city of Jacksonville. Again, just waiting for the money to accumulate. So we have a maintenance building in Montgomery, in Atlanta, in Augusta, but not in Jacksonville. But every train heading to Jacksonville is visiting a station where there is a maintenance building already set up, so that shouldn't be a problem. I think the next raw material we want to look at bringing to Atlanta would be milk. So once this line is in operation, we shall casterite some milk and see where the best candidate is to ship it in. But for now, I'm going to prepare this track. I want to start heading up here now, so I need 200 research points for that. So that is 2 trains from Atlanta. Two trains from Jacksonville. So assuming all 4 of them get fully loaded with sweets at some point, that will be the goal. That'd be 32, so that would be the goal met. Now we do need to bring some sugar.
Ventured, nothing gained.
We do need to bring sugar into this city as well, into Jacksonville. So that's one thing we'll do now. I'll expand the station we have. Like that, that's ready to get a station once we have the funds available. There we go, that's 40 plus. $47,000 for that section of track. Okay, that's more than enough now. And some supply tower. And we'll ensure that he's always leaving with a full load. Next we want to get some paper. Now Jacksonville is very close to expanding, which will open up a industry slot in the city, which with any luck we shall be able to
Looks like a real winner.
fill with a paper mill. Let's see here, 500,000 to put a paper mill down. It'll take us about a week or so, maybe a month to achieve that amount. So we just have to wait and hope that no other AI beats us to it and puts some random industry in there.
Look at it like this.
Of course, we also have the option of using Montgomery. So hopefully, at least one of them will still be available in a couple of weeks when we hit 500,000. Or, better idea, why wait? So that's 500. Now, like I said, I've never played this before. This scenario, I should say. But I am almost certain that either this dressmaker is going to be required, or this goldsmith. Perhaps even the ceramics. Now, if I go ahead and put a paper mill here, while it wouldn't be the worst idea, I'm also second guessing myself and assuming that if we do have a goldsmith appear required for future objectives, we'll have missed a trick because we have coal and we have gold very close to Atlanta, making Atlanta the prime candidate to have the goldsmith industry. Therefore, I'm going to chance my arm. I could be completely wrong, but I'm going to chance it and instead put my industry for the paper in Montgomery. Now the logs are still very close, so it's not, it's not causing us any issues. We have trains running to and from Jacksonville and Montgomery, so they can take the paper. So it still makes sense. Now, of course, there's every chance that the future objectives, if even there are any, have nothing to do with that goldsmith. But it's not an industry that usually appears. Just like the sweet factory doesn't usually appear. So that leads me to believe it's gonna appear now. So that's why I'm leaving Atlanta open. But the AI went and put a paper mill in anyway, so that's just completely negated everything I just said. But never mind. So let's start bringing some logs to Montgomery.
Are you sure you're not biting off a little bit more than you can chew?
I need 300 for standardized components, which further reduces locomotive costs, so that's going to be my next research target.
Oh no, what bad luck.
Now I get the feeling a second station is going to be needed in that city at some point, so I'm going to put it in place now and use it for the time being for the sole purpose of shipping our logs into from this your lumber yard. That'll do, 34,000. Got some Native Americans just next to our cattle ranch. So let's start the trains heading to Atlanta. To start with, we shall run two trains. Now Atlanta still needs wheat and corn in order to let it grow effectively. Although it does look as though these trains are providing just enough materials to grow Atlanta. You can have our security guard, and so can you. That's Augusta expanding in size. So we're up to 47,000, just thereabouts. I noticed on one of the trains here we'd already started to ship sweets. So that's 48,000. We have plenty of raw materials available. So I want to expand that facility. Okay, so that's the first two tasks now checked off. Just need to wait for the sweets to start flowing out of Jacksonville and up to Atlanta. Of course, we could encourage that by increasing the number of trains we run on that line.
One of your trains is broken down.
So we'll go ahead and do that. Put some more maintenance buildings in the more strategic locations. There's an outbound train, full of people, but it's full. What about you? Okay, you're almost full as well. So once those two trains arrive, we should be almost done. Okay, we have a connection bonus here. So, not one to look at gift horse. I shall go ahead and connect him there. Build in the switch. Run a little strip of parallel track. And start shipping corn into Atlanta. Go with 3 trains for the time being. What I want to do as well, while we have plenty of cash available, is clear off my existing debt. Because once this task is completed, which is going to be very shortly now, I imagine we're going to, like I say, need to start producing another luxury item such as jewellery or those fancy dresses.
Couldn't come up with anything better, huh?
There we go. Just as I thought, let's have a look. jewellery. And in this, now we need to grow Louisville. My knowledge of US geography. Oh, there's Louisville, okay. So, aha. Now I do believe the instructions say deliver the jewellery to Louisville. Can't just get away with producing it there, because I noticed we've got the gold here available and the coal. Is there any other ingredient we need? Leather. Right. So to me, the obvious choice is actually going to be Nashville. And the reason I say Nashville is we have the coal, obviously, we have the gold. Now that's same for Knoxville, there's no real difference to that. Yeah, it's a little closer, Nashville, but that's neither here nor there in the grand scheme of things. What I am looking at is this cattle ranch here to help supply enough cattle to produce the leather to produce the jewellery. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to head into Nashville next. So I want to run a line. I'll probably come from Montgomery. I think it's going to be cheaper just to come up this way than it is to run a line this way, because we are going to need to run this line into Nashville as well. So that's going to be my next attack. But that shall be in part 2. So this is the end of part 1, guys. We've got the first 3 tasks successfully signed off and completed. We have our economy in strong shape. We're making money pretty quickly nowadays. We're currently debt free, so raising the funds to purchase a goldsmith in Nashville is going to be no problem whatsoever. So, I hope you enjoyed the first part of this episode. It's the first time I've played this scenario, so this is all new to me, and it's a novel one, I'll say that much. It's novel. I like it. It's quite fun. It's different. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying it too. If you are, feel free to leave a comment. If you have any advice, perhaps you've played this one before, obviously feel free to drop it into the comments there. You can also leave a thumbs up, and of course, a thumbs down. That's just fine. You know, if you don't like the video, you know, let me know. That's absolutely fine as well. And if you're really liking it, then do consider subscribing. But I'll leave that up to you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in part 2 shortly.